Hello, welcome to a very special episode of coasterFAQs. I'm Andy the Gemini Man, and the cameraman is
the Mystic Rider.
And here's the little special surprise I hinted at on our Facebook page. Guess where we're at? Show them, John.
Gravity Group.
And we're going to get a tour from one of the founders of Gravity Group, and we're going to interview him. So come with us for the ride and enjoy.
The standard traditional cars out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as you push it through, you can see how it kind of fights its way through the curve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that.
And you can actually feel it too. It's a pretty different feel. And this is how the steering timberliners do. Mm-hmm. So it just essentially glides right through the curves. You can see how the steering actually makes all the wheels in the proper direction.
Yeah, that's the one that's on the Kentucky Flyer, right?
Yeah. We've had timberliners sit on all of our rides since 2011.
Okay. What rides does the other one have? Can you give some examples?
Like the old trains would be on the Voyage and Ravine Flyer 2, Boardwalk Bullet. So those would be the old trains.
So Oscar's Wacky Taxi at Sesame Place has the timberliner.
Absolutely, yeah. And that allows us to go around a lot tighter curves. It also allows us just to do a lot more crazy things like the inversions that we've done. We've had, I think, 7 rides now that have inversions. Hades 360 being the first of that.
At Mount Olympus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have a bunch over in China, and then Fun Spot's the most recent one down at Mind Blower in Florida. So, so that's been exciting. This is a really ancient postcard. I don't know why it's out here, but this is before we even had a ride. That was in 2002. So Larry, Corey, myself, and Chad Miller founded the Gravity Group in 2002. And
if I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I'm correct, you guys broke off from the Custom Coasters International.
Kind of. Custom Coasters was actually...
You don't mind if we film, do you?
No, this is cool. So Custom Coasters actually went bankrupt and they laid us off. So as they were closing, we were on the street. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do. And so we're like, well, we're engineers. We like what we do. We still have a lot of people that we know in the industry. Let's go ahead and continue designing roller coasters. And so we did that. We used the model of working with our team that we used at Custom Coasters, and then Park hired that team. And so what we did then is we supplied all the engineering and project management to get the park to create their ride. And then pretty soon after that, we just hired the crew and started Gravity Craft Corporation, which also produced the timberliner cars. So we had all this experience in wood coasters, and we knew that we had really high maintenance on our rides. We had to do something about it. And so that's when we took this train and we said, hey, this is what's putting the force on the track as it's bouncing around, and as also just the weight itself, it puts a lot of force on that track. And so when we started coming up with the ideas, we said whatever we can do to decrease that force on the track, that's what's going to be the key for keeping the smooth ride. And so think about it as a big hammer. The bigger the hammer, the more dents you're going to make in the wood. It's really what it comes down to. And so what we're able to do is we were able to distribute the force a lot better, but also we can divide that force over 2 wheels. And it steers, and so naturally that force went from maybe this big down to this big. And so all the tracks that we've had timberliners on since, they don't have that same amount of degradation every year from a rider point of view. They stay exactly how they were originally when they were built. And that's exactly what we were hoping for, and it's great because it's totally delivered on that goal. And now wood coasters are very maintainable. So we had this challenge, we met the challenge, and we're constantly innovating on all kinds of other stuff too. But this was this is the biggest thing for wood coasters in who knows how many decades.
I was noticing some of your pictures. Can you tell us what some of these pictures are? I mean,
yeah, sure can. So this is the Voyage over at Holiday World. This is Zip and Pippin up at Bay Beach up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, followed by Wooden Warrior in Connecticut, followed by Ravine Flyer 2 with the big blue bridge, and then finally the Boardwalk Bullet.
All right.
But
and of course, this is Mind Blow here.
Yeah.
So we've been on a lot of the different magazine covers and stuff all over the world. All of our rides.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I'm trying to think. I did look up your guys' coaster builds. I forget what your earliest one was.
Yeah, our first one was the original Hades.
Yes.
Case 360.
Yeah. So we produced that ride in 2005 is when that opened, and then we converted it in 2013.
And then you guys well, you helped retrack and rewood. What was that coaster at Dorney that? I'm gonna
Thunderhawk.
Thunderhawk, yes.
Yeah, we actually did a little bit of work on Thunderhawk. We also did some work on some of their other rides in the chain.
Yeah.
So.
I've been on. I did notice. Saw a lot of the things around with Thunderhawk that there actually was an add-on on there. Was that you or?
No, that was back in the I think the 1940s.
Yeah.
They reconfigured it. It used to go straight out, and then they took the turnaround and kind of flipped it around. So
All right.
yeah, what we did on Thunderhawk was very, very minimal. It was just a little bit of track work, but we do probably 2 to 4 projects every year on different rides. That it's just not something we really market or advertise much, but it's good projects for us. We go in and we have a little bit more high-tech approach than most people. As we go in and we look at exactly where the track is going, and so we survey all that information. We take that into the computer, we scramble it up, make it super smooth, and then we can adjust that track to the actual perfect shape that would be best through that curve. And so we adjust the track and all the structure to get that perfect shape. So we use our crew and all of our proprietary calculation methods.
So talking about CCI a little bit, since you guys were part of it.
Yep.
Did you, on the coasters you worked with, did you work on any at, say, Indiana Beach or the, I'm thinking Gwazi, but that was GCI. Actually, now that I think about Twisted Sister at Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom, when it was still owned by Six Flags.
Yeah, everything that was done by Custom Coasters, we were a part of.
Right.
So we were the engineering team at Custom Coasters, and so Larry, our eldest member, he was brought in the early days of Custom Coasters when they first did Hoosier Hurricane, I believe, is the first major ride that he designed.
Cornball Express.
Yeah, we did Cornball and Lost Coaster, and all the rides at Holiday World, and Michigan's Adventure, all those Twisted Sisters, as you mentioned.
I was going to say, you had to have familiar territory since you guys built Voyage, but you also, when you were part of CCI, you all also built the Raven and the Legend.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were a lot of fun. Those are the Legend I came in on when I started, and the Raven predated me a little bit, but Larry was heavily involved with the Raven design. He was out there walking the woods with the owner. It was a good memory.
Do you? I know you probably can't disclose any of this, but do you guys hope to probably have a project for Kings Island since you're so close to the property?
That'd be nice, but they have a lot of wood coasters over there already.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they have the most wooden, foot-wise, they have the most wooden coaster track of any park.
Exactly. Yeah. They have a lot of wood.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be convenient if you guys did end up getting a project with them, due to be so close to the headquarters and all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It would be just run over there at lunchtime and check out the project. So, yeah, what was really nice though is Kentucky Flyer was a ride that was really convenient for us as well. We're used to hopping on an airplane or going to another continent to go to our current project. Here you can just drive down then same day and you're back. So 2 hours down and you can be on site for X number of hours and you can be back.
Yeah, last year, the later part of last year, I did a review on Kentucky Flyer, and I noticed that the program that you were using was Planet Coaster. Am I right on that?
Yeah, yes and no. So we don't use Planet Coaster at all. The park had somebody make a Planet Coaster concept just for the marketing announcement.
All right.
We weren't a part of that whatsoever.
Okay.
And so then, a little bit later, we had, got an official No Limits together that we created here to represent the ride.
What were your thoughts? Because later in the year last year, Governor Matt Bevin of Kentucky said that he was not allowing construction to go any further because the turnaround of Kentucky Flyer was where the problem was, and then all the people calling into his offices to complain about it. What were your thoughts on that?
We were kind of independent of that. There's always a challenge with the Fair Board as far as they have a lot of things on their plate. I don't know if you've been down there, but that expo center is busy all the time. So, and so they're always, trying to cater to their clients, and then Kentucky Kingdom is trying to cater to their clients. And the issue about the parking lot, I believe it had to do with the paving of it, and so they just preferred not to have either clients park in the parking lot that was kind of mostly gravel. So this was a way that, or let's just say, essentially kind of got in the way of the construction for about 24 hours, and then it was back on track. So it wasn't. It was just a small hurdle, but obviously it was. It was a significant hurdle.
Yeah, it raised a lot of fans. There were a lot of fans of the coaster even before it was being made.
Yeah. So, but it was. We got through that, and construction's back on track, and everything worked out really well. So,
have you got to ride it since it opened a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I've ridden it quite a few times. I've ridden it in the dark. I've ridden it in the rain. With people, or with just myself. So yeah, I've had a lot of rides on it, and I just love the ride. You guys are gonna just absolutely love it.
Have you got to ride Oscar's Wacky Taxi?
Yes, I've also been on Oscar, and it's a blast. It's just so much fun. It doesn't look like much, but oh man, great airtime, great twists and curves, and it's not a little kiddie coaster. It's
even though it's in a little kid park.
Yeah,
exactly. And well, that's kind of our niche is. Airtime and great thrills and exciting ride has nothing to do with how big you are. If I take my 2-year-old, I throw them up in the air. That's they like that, and so it seems like it's the parents that kind of, think that the ride's too exciting or something like that. But really, what's really key about our rides is. We've done a lot of research and development. We've had a lot of little kids in here working with our restraints to make sure that they cannot get out. And, as far as compared to, all the other rides manufacturers out there, I don't know what they've gone through, but I know we did a lot of rigorous testing, and we were trying to find any and everybody in that 40-inch height area. Hey, do you know anybody that you have a kid that's 40 inches that wants to come and try to get out of a restraint? So we actually brought in probably 30 to 40 kids to when we lowered that height requirement for Oscar's Wacky Taxi was the first one, and we actually got an industry award because we're able to have that 40-inch height requirement, and you can ride with adults that are completely comfortable. If you ride like I don't even know what they call these. The Beastie. Everybody knows it as a Beastie, and whatever they call that ride these days.
Woodstock Express is what its current name is. Express.
I have to ride with my feet crossed, and it's completely uncomfortable just to ride with my kid. And our trains are not like that. You can have a ride like Kentucky Flyer. You got 12 spots of good, solid airtime on that ride, and it's just a blast. And it's completely safe for people of a huge range of sizes.
It's pretty Kentucky Flyer and Wacky Taxi are pretty much good starters for kids that are a little bit too big to ride, say a coaster like Great Pumpkin, and ready to move up to the next level.
Yeah, there's not a lot under 48 inches. Like the Racer's at 48, and there's a whole bunch of other rides at Kings Island at 48. But when you go down, and then I think Woodstock's at 44, So we would actually be 4 inches less than that.
Wow.
So, and a far more exciting ride. So that's, it's really, really big for parks, particularly parks that cater towards the smaller people like Sesame Place. You know, their average range is, you know, like 3 to 6 years old. You know, that's their target market. And so if their ride can't fit at least some of those kids, you know, it's a bummer.
Yeah. But I was just wondering, in your opinion, what do you say is the best roller coaster Gravity Group has ever made at this point?
Oh, the best. Well, the highest rated would be usually the Voyage and Ravine Flyer. Ravine Flyer 2. Those are the highest rated. My personal favorite is kind of all of them, but the most wowing ride I've ever had is Voyage at Night. I just think that's just, you know, it's just really, really hard to top the Voyage at Night.
Yeah, I've seen PUVs on that on YouTube. It does seem like a pretty awesome roller coaster.
It's amazing. Yeah, if you like the Beast at Night, you'll absolutely adore Voyage at Night. So,
all right,
yeah, I'd highly recommend it.
So would you consider it better than the Beast at Night, or the Beast at Night, or Voyage at Night?
No, Voyage at Night's way better. I'm biased, but you know, you can talk to a lot of people, and I think they would agree as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions we have.
Okay, cool. Just some pieces that we've done for 3D printing.
So these are 3D printed parts. Okay.
So you might recognize what this might be.
The wings.
Propeller for the
Kentucky Flyer.
Kentucky Flyer nose piece. Yeah, and then these are some chassis parts that that we've done semi-recently that we print out at various scales to test fastener checks and, you know, clearance checks and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier 3D printing some parts, trying to see how well they fit together, as opposed to making the parts from steel, and then you find that, oh, you know, if we just take off this little amount of material over here, it would fit so much better. So, so this has been a great thing for us, and yeah, I think that covers that.
Right.
But all the models that I showed you earlier, those are all 3D printed as well, with some bearings and stuff like that.
Right.
So far,
That's a good question. These are.
I see Voyager a couple times.
Yeah. So Voyage, Ravine Flyer 2, Hades, and
seems,
Bouts of Voyage. For
it
sure.
seems that you guys won mostly for Holiday World.
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah, so there was quite a few years where the Voyage was the #1 wooden roller coaster, so a lot of those are that.
And I believe you guys got beat by Mystic Timbers at Kings Island, the Voyage, I mean.
No, not technically. The Mystic Timbers won Best New Ride for that particular year. So in 2005, Hades won Best New Ride. In 2008, Ravine Flyer 2 was Best New Ride. And then Voyage was Best New Ride in 2006. So, yeah, Mystic Timbers won it when it
2017.
opened. Yeah. So, yeah, when we had, 2017, I think Mind Blower was open in 2017, but it opened pretty much right when the ballots were closing. So, so yeah, Mystic Timbers came away with it that year.
If Mystic Timbers didn't get done in time, do you say that Mind Blower probably would have won it?
I have no idea. No idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the voters, you know, they're from all over the world, and so they, you know, sometimes don't get to ride the rides. You also have to kind of rate them sometimes just on what you know about the ride or other people's opinions of them.
But I'm curious because when I was looking up stuff about Gravity Group, I noticed there was two company names, Gravity Craft and the Gravity Group. Can you give us a little bit of description what the difference between the two is?
Yeah, so when we started with the four of us, we started an engineering firm called the Gravity Group, and so it specialized in engineering. So that's how our business was set up. And then a few years later, we had the need to supply both the trains and the entire ride. And so Gravity Craft was set up as a company that was not an engineering firm. It was a product supply company that could handle that from a business point of view. So that's why we have the two different companies. So we usually have the two logos sometimes together, sometimes not. But most people in the industry know the Gravity Group, but not Gravity Craft. All of our suppliers, they deal with the product supply company called Gravity Craft. So if I talk to our wheel supplier or some of the other suppliers, they all know Gravity Craft. So it just depends on who you are. But yeah, pretty much everybody in the industry knows it's just the Gravity Group.
Right. Yeah. You don't have any questions?
Okay. Yeah, so we'll head back this way.
Okay.